following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1. You ever get that feeling of burning rubber? The old saying where rubber meets the road? And wherever we're going, the journey never knows? Well, that's what today feels like. For Christian Tagoe, it was a weird March. A sweep, then getting swept. He got the revenge against Gold in albeit unusual circumstances about a week ago. But now he's here against a guy he's played 1 million or maybe even 1 billion times theoretically and hypothetically, but never in a sanctioned match against his old pal Vapor. I can light switch this flicker I have on the left here 1,000 times, but I don't need to do that. What we're going to see today will speak for itself. It's the Mustang region. The horses were running in round 1. Now they're burning up the course in round 2. Welcome to the Tire 32, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Christian Tagoe versus Vapor. You know, they always say these matchups have a lot more spice to it, but today there's an extra meaning, a lot of respect on the table, knowing how this system works and knowing how this will go. This could be the only time we see this matchup in league history. Of course, Vapor's been well documented every single tournament from here on out. It's his last hurrah. You never know when it's going to end, so he's got to make sure every moment counts. But let's get into that schedule. So we got a packed day today. Starting it off with Tagoe Vapor momentarily. Then Toaster Guy Monkey. I know, it's hard to believe Toaster Guy Monkey, a rematch of last May, is not streamed, but that just shows you how good the round has been in terms of the stream package, and also a little bit of news and notes we'll get to in a second. Ghost and Myth is expected to be probably a crack show. Stuart will take that one. Both guys play quick. Low tier, a little bit of high tier. I expect that one to go quick. Short's going to handle that one, 9 o'clock Eastern. That's the triple threat today on the Tire 32 to start off the round. Should be a good one, 9 o'clock. That will be also in the Stang region as well. Got 2 Stang region games today. Let's go into that pod, and we'll start it off with the first one. Tagoe Vapor, as I said, Myth and Ghost. And the winner will get the second iteration of the March battles. Obviously, Peter and myself played last year. Now it's Nick and Peter. That'll be Thursday at 3:30. Similar time to this one, just a little bit later for that game. Really good action, though, today. 3 great games. A lot of fun to be expected in the new round. Well, a little bit of news and notes here before we get into the scene. Extreme minor. Only 10 stream games this round, mainly due to the fact that we are looking at expanding the Division 2 package. It is a move, I would say not, I wouldn't worry about it right now. I wouldn't say it's a move it's going to be, okay, here we go. But it is being looked into, so keep that in mind. And then for the rest of the tournaments, though, from T3 and 4, that will also be 10. T1 is always 12. T5, it could be every single game is straight in round 2, pending playoff and relegation implications, but we'll see about this year. That's all the news and notes. I call them the lug nuts and bolts, but whatever you like to call it, let's get into the scene. Give me a good one today. I got my man Seth a little bit here. He's got some extracurriculars going on in the house, but it's a battle of 2-1-1 players, so I'll go to Seth. Players are here as well. Seth, obviously, this matchup is something maybe you may not remember or you're not familiar with in terms of the lore, in terms of the practice lore. These guys play a lot of practice games, but one thing's for certain, both guys have had sluggish starts to the year. I know 2-1, you think, what's a sluggish start, Kay? But Tagoe, as I said, coming off a sweep in March after dishing one out, and he got dished one. Vapor really struggled, I would say, against Toaster Guy. He did pretty well, but he struggled a little bit on some unusual styles. Now he's been very good on the 2 styles he's played. Steven obviously was a little bit more of a trip. Camaro, 2 D2 players. Now he gets his first real true test of the season. It's a litmus test game. We know they like the light switch a lot. It's toss-up 4-5. This is a very heavy region. 1-9, 4-5, 3-6, 2-7. Heavy region. There was really only one real upset, and even then, the 9 seed over an 8. It's not much of one. Been chalk. Your thoughts on who's going to set the tone early? You think it's going to be Tagoe at home today with the light switching, or does Vapor set it at home when we get to game 3? What do we got? Ooh. I like it.
A lot of similarities between these two coming into this thing. I don't know if we can necessarily make a prediction now. I think this first game is going to be a pivotal one between these two as to who's going to blink first.
Well, that's going to be the key, the name of the game. We got Jay Caesar as well. Reffing, I'll go to Caesar real quick. Caesar, look, we talk about mentality. You know everyone's on the limit in D1. But I want to know from you, man, before we start the game, where do you think the mentality is? Obviously, both guys have... Well, they've taken some hits in their career. We know Tagoe made Super League last year. Vapor's never made it. You and Vapor are probably the two most established players not to make it in the club. Where do you think the mentality lies early in the season for both players? Knowing it's a 2-1 battle, someone's got to go to 3, someone's got to go back to 500. What do you think the vibes are here, and what are our reads on the mentality for both players? And we'll go into those two players. Let's start it off with the home team. Tagoe, obviously, you've had an interesting time in 2025. We know the road to whatever 12, 13 wins starts now. We talked about that, but it's a little bit different today. You have never had a chance to play Vapor in a sanctioned match. Of course, we can't say this is the only time. You guys will play again, I'm sure, in practice. But in a sanctioned match, this could be the only time you play. How do you approach this one, knowing out of all the times you played in your career, this is the first chance and the first crack at the apple playing someone like Vapor, who's got a lot of respect for? What are you expecting today? Feel free to say that or type, whatever you want to do. And for Vapor, it's simple, man. Obviously, your season has been interesting to say the least. You took a little bit more of a backseat win, I would say. Really good table awareness against Camaro. Let's just put it lightly. You had the advantage, right? You just knew what you were doing. You figured out the reads. But this is Tagoe, someone you play similar. It's going to be a knife fight, right? How many knives you bring to the fight, it's on you. Where do you think you can get an upper advantage in terms of mentality as you look to try to pull up, I guess, a seed upset, but more just an upset in terms of maybe the resume in the past, considering we know Tagoe's brunt force in 2024? What do we got?
I mean, yeah, when you play a guy so many times, well, we've played 300, 400 games in total against each other, probably, if you go back. I'd say for a mental advantage, there's not really much you can really gain here for either of us. He knows my tells. I know some of his strategies. He knows a lot of mine. So, again, like what Cody said in his smart corner thing, it's going to come down to, who gets luckier, right? And who brings more knives to the fight, as you said. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes.
Appreciate you, my friend. Oh, was it second time? Oh, man. You know what? That might have been before the respect really began. I'll check back on Lee. You might be right. It's been so. Yeah, I think that was just more of an unknown, though. You guys really didn't know each other. Now, and that was a weird year. Honest to God, anything that happened in 2023 is almost a foreign concept. We're in a different country. But yeah, if you guys did play a second time, it's a long time ago. Then it's an old file. So we'll see how the lost file gets retrieved. Well, as we wait for Caesar to type out, I think the one X factor I always know in sport and life. I'll have to check the records. The one thing I know about these guys that they have played in the past with so many times, and there's no mental advantages, they both say, the one X factor is going to be composure then, right? Who can really abide by the composure aspect, and both guys really haven't had much of a test. Vapor a little bit more. He's went to 6 and 7. Tagoe has been 4, 5. That's it, right? That's all he's been doing all season. He hasn't really had a game 6 or 7 moment. Do you think that gives Vapor a slight advantage in the sense that we get to that later portion, he has a lot more in the tank? Or do you think this actually helps Tagoe being fresher with less reps? What do you think?
No, honestly, I agree with you on the first segment of that point there with Vapor going into the extra innings, if you will, having that experience of having a little bit more pressure on him there late in a tournament, knowing where his strengths and weaknesses potentially could be and being able to call in on them. Going to be a little bit of foreign territory if we end up getting into a Game 6, Game 7 situation here with Tagoe. Obviously, I don't think it's going to throw him off too much because, you could probably, if you're on a good enough roll in the early going, you may not necessarily have to worry about that type of a situation. But no, I definitely think that for both of these guys, it is going to be interesting in the fact of how tempted will they be to try and throw a bit of a curveball, something, because we heard from Vapor, he verbally said, I've picked up on some of his tells, he knows some of mine as well. Do we maybe throw out a little something different here to throw the opponent off? I don't know, because sometimes it can definitely work out. It can work out in an offensive way. But the last thing you want to do is overstep from where you are comfortable playing as well. That could end up drawing you back and put you on the back foot. So do we keep it simple is the question between these two here. Do we keep with what we are used to, what has brought us to the dance, given us so much success here in this and many past tournaments? Or do we do something a little bit different here to make one step further forward?
Well, Seth, obviously, I was supposed to commentate a game with you on Friday. It was supposed to be Bo and Lara, I believe, and I wanted to congratulate you. And I think it was been the first time we had played the day prior. We both had won our matches on the same day. That was pretty cool. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, though. We both knew in round 1 it's a little bit different. Just don't make mistakes. Round 2, you start to see a little bit more of that package unveiled. We'll see who's got an extra, maybe handkerchief in the old box. Well, it's time for those most famous words, Nuno. Let's get to it. Christian Tagoe, I've done this so many times in your career, man. You're the home team. You know the drill. 5 to 15. CSR's on. What we cooking for game 1? What we got? Let's go with the dozen. We'll keep it clean. 12-pack in the air. Set down commentary. The boss around. 2-2-1-1. Let's get it done. Caesar's going to put it in. Big-time light switch battle. Or will we see something different in store? They know what's at risk. They know what's at stake. Let's find out right now. Caesar puts us in, and we're underway with the Brock 1 to begin this 4v5 in the Tire 3-2. And off the bat, Seth, we talk about Christian Tagoe. We say the light switch is important to him. We know it's there, but he's going to go with the ditto play to start with the bot. How about that?
And it's interesting, too, a couple of other things we'll keep an eye on, and they may carry over from the Suspension 64, it may not, but, Tagoe in the matchup that he had with Gold, it really came down to his usage of the +2s, and then just for Vapor overall, when he was able to defeat Camaro, it was about playing that right card at the right time. Timing is everything, and it's going to be, I think, even more prevalent in this matchup today.
Well, we'll go with the switch. There it is. There it is. And that's going to ice Vapor out, the ice cold. That was... Wow, there we go. A little isolation for Bo, but that was the old ads with Vapor back in 23, the old ice cold blue. And now he's iced down the blue as we go to a draw. See, early Seth got, think here, a little bit different what we're seeing as Todd goes for a little double play to get some more advantage on the Delta. A little bit different type of pace right now. Vapor being more content, and there's the switch.
Yeah, I'm wondering there if Tagoe was just kind of waiting to draw something to be able to chain that 5. You got the blue reverse into the blue 5, was drawing on the blues. This is interesting. Kind of a situation that we've seen before in the past here, KT, with, holding back, having a color, but not necessarily wanting to play it just yet, looking for a chain, looking for something else, kind of maybe not overstep and overplay what you've got for somebody else to be able to get a read on it.
Yeah, the read right now is we're going back to that yellow we started. 2-color box appears, and there's Vapor with the Pandoras wide open into the Sanford. Half off special to Logan. 4-card advantage for Tagoe. Vapor looking to cut this down to maybe 3 or 2 and a double. He loads up, there's the double, and just like that, Seth, it's almost square as Vapor's cut it back. Can Tagoe find a run? There's the light switch going back to that 2-color to yellow.
Yeah, light switches and rapid light switches. I'm not sure if it's because we were at a full dozen start here that it's making the choice rather easy for each one of these guys, but we're seeing some pretty rapid style play right out of the gate by both of them.
Yeah, rapid style play as we tied the game up 6 apiece. Tagoe's out. Vapor looking for the lead here for the first time. He will into a light switch, and just like that, 2 possessions into Vapor. Thoughts on that switch, Seth? Vapor really favoring the red. Could be a 2-color game of isolation here. Maybe not so much the run to the finish, but isolation.
Could very well, but I mean, we've yet to see the green played. So how much do either one of these guys have in that? There you go. So there's the first swap over to the green. I was kind of interested that it took so long for us to get over to that 4th color, and now Pandora's box open there. As you see the double play with the +2 there by Tagoe.
Back to blue, so Vapor off the green quickly, maybe trying to hide it. Tagoe can run with the blue. Vapor goes into his ice cold special. What's he got in the bag of tricks? +4, +2.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
This might be a finish.
Vapor for the finish to the 1-0. Does he have it? Yes. That's
yes,
a 1-0.
he does. Wow. Incredible job. And look what he was holding there in the green. You hit it. You hit it right on the head there, KT. 2-color hand there, yellow and green.
Yeah, I figured that was going to be the case. I'm going to go over to the winner right there. Vapor, really good job feeding off those looks. 2 things. 1, draw city. You don't have to tell me what you got, but talk to me about when you get that early draw city, considering it almost felt like a practice match there where you didn't mind your early draw city, fell back, sit comfortable, sit pretty, knowing you got a little delta on the hand. Talk to me about that early draw city. What was the mindset, especially in the first 3 cards being played?
The mindset early was I had the blue 6. I just wanted to fade that for just as long as felt reasonable.
Turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then draw city, first draw I got a +4. And then just kind of held it from there. Felt out the switches a little bit. Had ammo in green. He gave me the +2. That gave me a yellow +2 and a blue 0. I was able to play that blue 0 off the switch. And yeah, everything kind of just fell into place a little bit. And it really all came because of that early draw.
Talk to me, Vapor. You've obviously played Tagoe a billion times. Sure, you got a little 4-2 just bounce on the +2. A little bit extra rubber on those tires. But more importantly, talk to me about this 2-color box, because you were really doing a good job of fading really that red-yellow off as much as you can. What's the mindset knowing, not just playing Tagoe, but anyone, for the fans at home, what it's like to get into a 2-color war? Because it's not easy to dice and slice on 2 colors versus 4. Talk me through that.
I mean, yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages to just playing the two-color game, like I had, with kind of the green and then red and yellow mixed in there. Because you don't have that, you have a liability. And if they can fill out that liability, the game's over for you. But if you can stay on what you need, like with your ammo and stuff, it can be really, really deadly when you have just the 2 colors.
Yeah, it can be very deadly. And Seth, you want to ask Tagoe? That's right, it's you and me. That's right. You want to ask Tagoe a question? Go ahead, man. I forgot. Well,
Tagoe, I mean, I'm just going to take all my my pre-match notes, just throw them out the window, because we talked about, you coming into this one off of your match in the Suspension 64, and the ability to be able to have right place, right time of playing the +2s. Well, here in the closing save of this one, it was the +2s that were your own detriment. I mean, obviously, we've already talked about the experience level that you guys have, not only just in this tournament overall, but against each other also. And, we talk a lot about when to play the offensive cards. And we just heard there from Vapor, when you hit him with the +2, it ended up giving him another +2 for that chain at the end. He was able to get the +4 off of the draw as well. Is there a balance, in your opinion, of exactly the right time to be able to go on offense and when not? Because the time when you ended up playing it, you both were tied up at 6-6, so it seemed like a good time to be able to do that, be able to get the early advantage. But going forward here, do you think that there is a correct time in which to be able to use that ammo so it doesn't come back to bite you, or do you think that it really just comes down to circumstance of what's going on at the time?
And to piggyback that point, Seth, you talked about the timing here. Well, the thing with the timing in this game, when you only see 1 + 4 combined, it's so hard to read. We talk about, okay, upper tier K, 10 to 15, you got to expect 1. But when you lose off that, it becomes a mindset thing. How you shake that off? Okay, you got burnt that time. Where people lose a series in a best of 7, a game 1 or 2 where they lose the timing. Let's read that. Go ahead.
It's just, you can never truly know what your ammo gives to your opponent. Just have to hope for the best. And I think that's kind of what you were just alluding to there, KT.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. Right? It's really just how you shake it off. How you shake off that, okay, I mistimed it, but at the end of the day, it's a perfect region, the Mustang. How do you get back on the horse? Do you Do you play this box of sheltered, or do you get back into that game of, okay, I messed up. Great, it's game one. Let's get back on the horse and get back into the mode. And I think that's what makes this game beautiful. It's you look at things of saying, okay, we know the switching is going to be there. We know the two colors going to be there. We know all the draw city is going to be there. But most importantly is when you get hit in the mouth, how do you respond back? And I think for Tagoe, he got hit a little bit, but guess what? He's got a chance to respond back, and now we get to see what his true mettle is, which is great, especially in a game like this where they both know each other for sure. All right, well, we'll go.
And it's a thing that you can't think about. It's a thing you can't think about until it happens. Because if you do, then, if you've got yourself a strategy to get to the end, and you start to think about it, you might change up your plans, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, okay, hold on. What was I originally going to do here? And now I don't have the cards to be able to go to plan A.
Right, and that's the beauty, man. It's the beauty of this. There's no way to have one person skin the cat and grab a glass of water, but we're great at filling dead air. So we'll go to Caesar. Caesar, your thoughts. Could you find anything from a player perspective that you may have done differently on the early +4? Would you have maybe used that earlier with the 6-6? Talk to me about when you get to those tie situations, how you try to manage that from both their perspective. As you're just joining us, Tagoe took an early game, 1 loss. He is the home team. We'll get another start. Vapor with a big save on the +4, off the +2, off that top deck draw. Got a little bit down to the end. Was able to run the colors, play 2-color Pandora, and run to the clean and finish. We'll see what happens here in game 2. Both guys are turned up the wick today. Should be a good one. Quick 3-on-3 right there. 3 minutes, 3 seconds for an early game 1 winner. Tagoe looking to tie it back up, though. All right, Tagoe, free board right here. Everything's open. What do we got? I'll get back to Caesar's comments. We'll go Baker's Dozens a little later when we start getting more comments or more games for him to comment on. 13's in the building. Let's start it up. We'll begin on that newest card, Logan Red 3. And now set the adjustments. We talk about game 1 feeler. Sometimes you go back to the basics, and just like that, let's switch it up. There it is.
Kind of just going back to the end of game 1, I just looked it back as well. I don't dislike the +2 that Tagoe played, because at that point in time, Vapor was down to 3 cards. We saw Vapor finish out that first game with 5 cards. We keep talking about it all the time there, KT. This isn't your normal type of Uno where you're just trying to get down to Uno and then play your last card. We have seen chains of 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 at the end. You start getting down to that territory, you got to start thinking about the possibility that your fellow on the other side has got to finish to run all the way to the end. You've got to have something on defense. So I actually don't dislike the +2. He didn't exactly get what he was looking for in terms of what went against him in the cards that were given to Vapor, but I do like the play.
Absolutely, as we go 1. So you got to think at the end, you're right. It's team 1. Everyone up here knows how to do a 6-bag chain. Everyone knows even how to do a 10-bag chain, if you given the circumstances. We go into over the Gone Green 2. Back to the Red 2. We're starting to get shades of quick play right here on the switching. But you got to respect the chain. I think that's what both guys are going to look into. Who's in that red zone first, that gray area, as Tagoe goes for a little dark action into a Chomik +4-8 combo, and who can find a little bit more on the back end with ammo, as there's Vapor to neutralize it. There you go. Tit for tat right there.
Absolutely. Big shot and answered right back. I don't think necessarily those +2s were given on the +4 because Vapor was very quick on that fire back. And now bringing it back to green is going to be Tagoe. So he wants to run particularly in that color despite being a 1 possession down.
Yeah, Tagoe basically did the right thing according to Caesar. Basically just nothing really wrong. Came down to timing. Yeah, timing is everything, man. Timing is everything in this league.
It's so important.
Ever since we switched to this new bot, too, it's even more important as Tagoe's iced. The old bot, you really didn't have to worry about timing. You had 2 +4s. The game's over. No, you had no shot at the other end. Now with this bot, that's a huge heater right there from Vapor. Thoughts on that one, Seth? Quick one going back to yellow.
Yeah, that's a great ice right there by Vapor. He knows that Tagoe wants to run in the green, and he's keeping it over there in the yellow. That's huge in the fact as well that he's up, 4 possessions on Tagoe. Now Tagoe might be back in the same situation he was back in game 1 where he there it is. I was going to say where he might have to use an offensive card, and there you go. There's the 5-card run at the finish once again there by Vapor.
Yeah, and that's lethal right now, Seth, and we'll talk about why it's lethal in a second. You look at the self cards drawn 26-9, it's one thing, but once again, another quick game. Vapor, that's what you like, man. We talk about this. Anything under 5 minutes is free game. That case, I want to ask, though, the first draw right there, A little strategic there. Maybe not so much having anything. Oh, let's see. I was looking at +2 in green. Okay. Okay, so Tagoe got burned a little bit on the end, but
Well,
that's on an early draw. Was that a case of just trying to do a little top deck magic, lightning strike twice, or did you just feel comfortable right there?
I didn't have any. I didn't have any numbers in yellow until he did the +4, so I didn't want to play any actions early or my wild. So I just drew and hoped he could play a number that I could switch off of.
Copy, and then I'll move over to you real quick. So you know how do you manage a game where once again the light switching is heavy, but this game wasn't two colors. You saw all four colors used within 5 turns. How do you manage a game where you go from one avenue of just two color Pandora's box, and you got to quickly, instantly adapt to, okay, we're going back to the full Pandora's, not just a two color crap. How do you try to maneuver that? And talk to me about the finishing run there. Was that a case of Tagoe maybe a little bit, I guess, cleaner on, a little bit more conservative on some of the ammos? He had 2+2s, and you were able to expose him just a little bit slightly to get the early 2-0?
Yeah. I've played him enough times to kind of know what the situation might be if I wild into a color he doesn't have. And I don't think he was really quite expecting me to have a 5-card finish, so I think he was being a little bit more conservative than, like, situationally it makes sense for him to be conservative there because he doesn't know I have the 5-bagger, but I did end up having it, and that's just kind of maybe an adjustment for him. I'm not sure.
Well, Seth, I think we got to ask him about those 2+2 saves and
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask him. Yeah, Tagoe, as you said, you had 2+2s you didn't use. I have to adhere back to game 1. You played the +2. It gave Vapor the ammo that he needed to be able to finish it out. Did that make you a little gun-shy of using them here in Game 2, not wanting history to repeat itself, going back from the previous game, or was there something that you had on your end that you wanted to hold on to those +2/4s to be able to maybe string a run along there? And another thing I was going to ask you as well, and you don't have to allude too much into this, but, now 0-2 here on the homestand, so you'll be able to adhere to a 12 or a 13 card start if we get later on into this tournament. Is that something where your comfort zone is with those higher card counts, or now that you're 0-2 so far in the higher card counts, having the home field advantage, do you swap it up a little bit as we get later on here into this series?
Well, and this is the thing, Seth, you talk about gun shot. It's the old adage. Lightning can strike twice sometimes, where you just feel if you pull the trigger too early, and boom, you get burnt again. But sometimes if you don't pull it at all, you get burned either way. So I think it's a crazy case of this game is becoming more psychological, and especially when I've noticed lately when we start doing these questions and answer sessions, both players, especially as we continue to get more experiences. You can go ahead and read that.
It says the higher card start better for him than going low and hoping to get lucky. And just one quick thing as well here, we got to remember, KT, he mentioned about having the green +2. That shows why he was so adamant of getting the color over to green, which made that color swap with the wild yellow for Vapor really all that more important to be able to block that.
Yeah, it's about the blocks and the defense in this game. The defense is always going to be a proactive measure for both. Well, my assessment of this game is everything is timing. Just like we were saying, Tagoe had 2+2, didn't use them, and ended up burning him. But even then, it didn't depend on which cards would be sent Vapor's way to if you decided. So that's the case, man. And we talk about the millimeter. You have to be inch perfect in this league, Caesar and Seth. You know this. Obviously, you guys both played round 1. Inch perfect. There's no room for error anymore. Everyone knows everyone. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. You think you got something on one opponent, and boom, they come back with some sort of vengeance, and you're like, damn, I didn't see that one coming. But I know it's in the back pocket, now it's in the playbook. And as I was just alluding to, these games are becoming more psychologically induced because as we continue to get more experience on these stream games especially, you got to know how to hide things. You got to know how to really use your words wisely. I think it's become more of a mental chess match, these post games. It can definitely start striking fear depending how you answer the question. So we'll keep that in mind moving forward. But we know the situation here, Seth, with Vapor. We know he's got a 6-card special if he needs it. We'll see if he pulls it out, but let's go to him right now. Vapor on the run right now. 12-13's off. They don't call me the magic touch, the Midas touch for nothing. Put it in there, Caesar. You probably are going to say in your head, you know what. But that's how we do it. 6-card special. Let's begin. we begin with the old JT5. And Seth, this can go quick. We've seen this movie before.
Yes, we have. We've definitely seen very rapid ends to low-tier card starts. Got to start with a half dozen here, and look at this. Wow, trips play right off the bat there for Tagoe. I mean, his back's up against the wall a little bit here.
Oh!
Is Vapor going to answer right back? Holy cow.
What a save. That's a glove save and a beauty right there. A little soccer save right there. Great +2 save, and Tagoe's back on defense again. Unbelievable.
And what did that give Tagoe here? And if he has something, does he utilize a little double play? Let's see. Does Vapor have a finish with only 2 cards? It's going to be a check.
No power play for Vapor. Could have saved it. What does Tagoe have now? He's got to think something through. Here comes Tagoe. Anything he's going to try, it's going to be now. Nothing. Vapor for the 3-0. Great play. That's a great play set from Tagoe. Don't panic. He didn't use the power play. Probably no yellow.
Exactly. I like that. You're down 0-2. Hold that power play for right now. Uh-oh.
That is
Was
that
that the color? Swap over to what he
back.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Great play there, bringing it back to the yellow, icing it out.
The old KT Classic. We know that player too. Great move from Tagoe, and just like that saves maybe even the series. You got to think with these lower starts. Vapor on top deck. Won't fret right here unless it's a 1. No, and there we go. Back to equalizer right there, Seth. Crazy storm right there. Just passed over us for both. They weathered it both pretty well.
They did. Very well done there, as we got literally right down to the edge of this one, possibly being a 3-1 advantage for Vapor. And now it comes down to who's going to blink first. I mean, right now we're in a very lengthy draw city. Do we end up seeing Tagoe initiate over a color swap? Does Vapor end up trying to run it again? Right now, he currently, in this draw city, does have the card advantage. 2 less cards than Tagoe. Well, 3 depending on whose turn it is to play.
Well, for Tagoe now, using a little glove saving beauty just like Vapor did with the blue +2 save. A little bit of the feel, the instinct on 5-6 cards kicks in. But now, Seth, we're getting way past that. Tagoe already in the double digits. Vapor now just hit double digits. It's a new ball game for sure.
They had a lot of ammo used up there in the beginning of this as well. We had the double +2s, a skip, a wild, so we got to think that we're currently into ammo buildup here, trying to have something available to be able to string some kind of a run along. But the question remains, as there we go, I was going to say, how long do we remain in this draw city before they start to get comfortable with what they've been able to draw out of the deck?
Yeah, now we'll go into this light switch war. We go from green, we go to red, from Gone to Zach to Ghost. Triple play, 2-2-1, and we'll go to DJ. And just like that, we're starting to run quicker now. Who will get into that red zone first as we go to Pier? And you can see the back and forth here, Seth. They know each other so well. They know when to make the break. But the one X factor is Tagoe has pulled these +2s early as Vapor draws. Let's see if he can pull something right here out of the hat. He'll go into the
Vapor drawing.
Yep.
Could be an indication that he's in a 2-color suit now, currently maybe potentially in the blue and the green. Tagoe going to swap over to said green there. They might actually, with running as long as we did in red and both of them being iced out on yellow, they might both be sitting at 2-hand suits right now, 2-color suits.
Oh, crossover back from the reds to the greens, into the blue knights.
Into the blue again, wow.
That is incredible, Seth. Quad 9, we go into M. They both going dicing up for ninja right there. It's truly knives to the gunfight. But the question is, who's got the biggest gun to pull at the end? There's a double play into the Carson into M. Maybe. Hold on.
Oh, might be going for more than just a double. No, it is a double, so it draws it back even.
Yeah, tie game, just a little bit of misplay. How about that same play in a double retro? Retro Avenue.
Little ditto play, and now we're in that territory. You talked about the red zone. We're here.
Nothing from Vapor. Here comes Ty looking to get this back. What a... Whoa! Heat check!
What? Look at that!
Heat check. Does Vapor feel tense to use a +4 or something? Let's see. He does! It's game! Oh, he pulls it out of the hat!
What?
Oh my goodness.
He had to have top deck drawed the blue skip. He had to. Oh my gosh.
He said top deck. Blue skip, Vapor? Real quick. Blue skip. Top deck to...
Or did he have the blue skip and didn't use it? What?
I had the blue skips and yellow skips since the beginning. I top decked the +4 instead of switching to yellow.
That was ridiculous. Should have gone red. Says
Sometimes you'd
Tagoe.
rather be lucky than good, though.
Yeah, I'm going to say, man, I'll go back to that first move of the game because think about it, most people in that situation on a 6-card start, you have two options right there. You either switch it or you keep it blue. You decide to go for the green switch and you basically bait Tagoe into the blue, but he did a great job of isolating back into that Cody yellow. Talk to me about that early turn, just the fade off, and how you basically banked on him going back to it.
Oh man. Since I had yellow in the back pocket there, I wasn't really worried. I had yellow into blue the whole game, so I knew if he ever tried to go back to yellow, it was just blue anyway. The just question was how was I going to get that green out, and the +4 saved me.
Yeah, Tagoe said he could have gone red, but even if he goes red there, Seth, I don't think it would have mattered, and here's why. I think Vapor's smart enough to just use a +4 green, and maybe he still be left with 2 cards, but at the end of the day, I don't know if Tagoe going red would have gave him the win, but it would have gave him a better chance. We'll have to ask him a quick question, though, on maybe that first couple turns from 5 to 6.
Yeah, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020, but I mean, Tagoe, we were talking about there after you guys had a long run in red. It was almost like the two of you were in a 2-color suit there, but we saw you draw it back to the blue. I mean, could you have continued to run in red, potentially ice him out? I mean, there's no accounting for the bad luck when you end up having somebody on the other side top deck a +4. And also, too, I mean, just kind of, we talk about the fact that you and Vapor know each other very well. I'm still in shock trying to process the fact that it sounds like Vapor had that yellow skip. Even when you guys were in that long draw city in the yellow, he had that yellow plus skip from the very beginning, was holding on to that. The fact that it seems like now the two of you guys also seem to plan for plays way further on down the road, even though you could maybe utilize one of those offensive cards to your advantage right then, right now. Talk to me about that, because how do you get into a mindset of planning for something 10, 12 plays later on in a game like we're seeing what's taking place here? Because I'll be honest, I'm looking at this. We've seen this so many times. KT, you can weigh on this too. We keep talking about timing, and we have seen, even back during the Suspension 64, there have been games that have been played on both sides that are flawless. There is absolutely no mistakes, but it comes down to the timing and sometimes the luck of the draw as to who is able to get the advantage. At this point in time, Tagoe, you're currently in a 3-0 deficit. You're going to have to run the table here to be able to pick this thing up. You do have your power play still available as well. Good job not using it there when we ended up having Vapor down to that check on Uno. But I mean, what's the one factor you're looking at right here in terms of what's going to help turn this thing around? Because it certainly doesn't seem like it has to be the gameplay. You seem to be right on par with what you need to do.
Yeah, we'll see how Tagoe answers that. And we talk about this, Seth, in this game of Uno, especially this new buy. You can win games with nothing in your hand. And as Vapor said earlier, it just came to me. Then you can have everything, right? Every single thing, and you lose the game. I've been there where, man, I had a lot, and well, it turns out my opponent had a lot too. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. Then there's this situation where I remember your series, Game 7, where 4 wilds were playing in a row, and it came down to who had the power play. Anything can happen. It's not over yet. We've seen stranger and wilder things have happened. But the key thing here is, unlike most situations, Vapor still kept that power play, and it's 1-on-1. So if it was 1-on-0, I'm actually liking Tagoe a little bit more in the sense that, okay, he's got the power play, but since Vapor's got it, I think it's going to be a timing game. We'll see how aggressive Tagoe goes here, but Vapor with a chance with the kill shot right here. Can he get the kill shot? We'll find out. I was just thinking in my head, why not go for 5? And there it is, Caesar. 5 cards. He's going all in right there, Sep. This is a banker win right here. Can he get the hand? Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll see. It almost looked like he was going to have the hand there when we had the 6 card start, and then got iced out near the very edge. So we'll see if he ends up getting the cards he needs. And you go back talking about Vapor in that power play. If he doesn't have the cards here, if we end up having like a really good run out of Tagoe, I don't think, if I'm Vapor, I don't think I use the power play. You can afford to give up a game right now. You're up 3. So, be smart with that power play. Hold on to it when you know you absolutely have a hand that's going to be able to make a good run, because you're going to want to probably use that power play offensively. Don't use it defensively, especially this early on.
Looking like we're going back to a Game 3 situation maybe so far. Tagoe a little top deck, though. Holds that pause a little bit. Vapor with one as well. Let's see if the switch happens. No. And we're going back to the similar game 3, Seth. Seems to be a draw early. Let's see how we build it up.
Yeah, but based off of what we saw Vapor do back in that third game, I'm not necessarily thinking that he's out of blue. He ended up holding on to that yellow skip when we were in Draw City in yellow for a long period of time. So, what is he? What is Tagoe possibly holding back right now in preparation for much later on in this game?
Yeah, it's a standoff behind the scenes as we go for Todd. There's the switch. Now things will start to get intense. There's a triple switch into the threes. How about that? From Andy to Rad and over to Logan, now down to Ghost. We'll see tonight. Back to yellow.
And we're swapping quick. Back to the yellow again.
It's going quick. Vapor with a double play. We go into Golden Bow. You can see that the pace is picked up as we go into Sting. It's going quicker now.
And it's almost looking like as well here with the rapid style of play that we're having. It's more, like I said, these guys are staying in their comfort zone. They have a plan. They're sticking to that plan. Yeah, they're keeping an eye on what the other guy is doing, but they're not really letting them sway them.
Hold the phone. Vapor with a power play. Is he going to finish it off? Here comes Vapor looking for the win. He'll move on to the S16. Can he get it done? He's got the hand, and Vapor's moving on.
4-bagger to close it. Wow.
That's a statement right there. I don't think Tagoe could. There's no way Tagoe. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I'm going to have to say, other than maybe the first game. The first game, I think, even the second game to an extent, Tagoe had a good hand, but the last two, yeah, no, not really much I can say. That's the risk with 5 to 8, man. All right, Vapor, I'll go to you. Big win, man, but you kind of assessed it right. Just more luckier there in those last 2 games. That's how the luck show is with the 5 and 6. Would you say so yourself?
Yeah, the game plan, well, I was going to go 6 anyway, 6 or 5, and then in game 3, but 6 just felt better. And then game 4 was just like, well, I can go 5. If I get lucky, I win the whole series, and if I don't get lucky, well, he's going to go high tier, and I feel like I can win on high tier too. So it was just like kind of a throwaway game. You know how Toaster Guy does the 5 on the very first game? Yeah, that was me in game 4 there. Just I had a 3-0 lead. If I drop one, that's fine, like you said. But yeah, just as I said, the luckier guy ended up winning there. I just was blessed with some good draws there in Draw City.
Yeah, I was going to ask there. This one was a little bit different, though, I think, in the sense that not so much more Draw City. The fact that it was on blue, was that actually a saving grace? Considering maybe, Seth had mentioned maybe you saved the blue for the finish, but actually said, looking back at this, he actually played truthful. No blue save.
He was out.
Yeah. So talk to me about how you were able to disguise the look. Maybe get Tagoe thinking, hey, maybe he still got a blue, and that early Draw City almost benefited. The bot almost did you a favor because it was a neutralizer compared to, let's say, we started on red or something. Vapor?
Oh, sorry, I was busy trying to respond to the Tagoe here. Could you repeat the question real quick?
No, your thoughts on, was it a fortuitous bounce maybe, starting on the blue, which allowed you to have a true Draw City compared to the last game where you were able to save a certain color on Draw City with the skips. Talk to me how that blue actually not having anything benefited you towards the finish. Let's say if we started on red in hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we started on red, I would have wanted to throw my ammo early, and then also I would have had that blue 9 sitting there. So I would have been wanting to draw for blue rather than trying to draw for yellow, because I had a yellow skip that was sitting unconnected to any of my reverses or +2s. And then when he switched to yellow, I had the yellow skip and the yellow 2 that I got in Draw City that actually won me the game. Because he played the yellow 5, iced himself, I drew a red 5, I was able to play that in and power played out. So really, yes, a mix of fortuitous bounce and strategy. But yeah, I'm really grateful that one started on blue, because I was not drawing any blue.
Sometimes you need that fortuitous bounce, Seth. We'll go to a question from you to Tagoe on how he tries to bounce back for next tournament.
Yeah, Tagoe, obviously, tough break here for you. It just really looked like, as Caesar just alluded to, the luck skill formula. I mean, nothing you can do when the other guy ends up top decking a +4 or end up getting the +2s on the +2 that you played on him. Those kind of situations just seem to happen when it comes to this particular meta with the bot here. You played, as I said, you played flawlessly. I didn't see any mistakes or anything like that. One thing that I do look at as we go a little bit further back here in this game is the fact that, you ended up having the higher card start, you ended up going to the lower card start. We talked about the rapid play, and it looked like for both you and Vapor, it was just basically keep your head down. You had a strategy, you had a plan A, you were going to continue to run with that plan A. Is there any time with how fast we were seeing both of you play to keep an eye on what the other guy is doing, formulate some kind of a defensive strategy, or is it at that point in time just all go, don't let anything dissuade you from what you've already got planned?
We'll go over to Vapor real quick. Vapor, obviously I don't think you have in league history played Nick. I think you were supposed to play Peter in March. Obviously, that was 23. Never had the chance. Your thoughts on playing either one? Obviously, with Peter, would be more of a lost file game because you had a path where you could have played him. It was a long time ago, but Nick could be the tournament winner from last tournament. Your thoughts on either one as you move on to the Sport Mode 16 when we start kicking in high gear?
Well, I mean, it's like you, Peter, and Nick are kind of the holy trinity of March Madness. Peter obviously won the first one, you got the second, and Nick got in this last tournament. So Nick or Peter obviously have proven themselves as worthy competitors in this league. I mean, Peter only with the 9 seed, but or 8 seed, whatever he has. But as you said, as we've said in the past, there's not really much like parity in this league. Everyone's really good and everyone can win. Like we have a 10-15 matchup in another region, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, anyone can get the job done, and Nick showed that winning last tournament. So it'll be fun to face either of them, facing a new face that I've never played before. It'll just be a cool experience, no matter who I play.
Oh, thank you so much, Vapor. We'll go to you, Seth. Obviously, a quick one here today. Final thoughts, Caesar's Law, any final thoughts in this game? I would say for Tagoe here, this is now the third. 3 out of these 4 games has either been a sweep, getting swept, or getting swept. It's been, or a gentleman's sweep. So every single game Tagoe's been a part of, Seth, has either been a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. Thoughts on how he bounces back? Your thoughts on Vapor, especially, I know he has the 5 and 6 where he used it, how that could be a lethal strategy because he's going to be on the road again unless Peter wins. Right. Talk to me about how Vapor can still keep the 5 and 6 going if he can get the 2-0 at home, and your thoughts on how Tagoe's going to try to bounce back in T3 where he did really start his descent upwards last year in that said tournament T3 1 year ago.
Yeah, I mean, with Tagoe, he ended up saying he just has to play better, and I don't know how you play better with how he played today. I think that a lot of the luck factor was what was a difference maker in this one. He said he wasn't getting the hands necessary to be able to, even really think about playing defensively. He just had to really just play his own game, hope for the best. That's kind of a situation that you sometimes get into. For Vapor, he was able to pretty much go to plan A and everything. He talked about the fact that he loves those low card counts. They worked out for him in games 3 and 4, but he's also comfortable with the high card counts, which we saw that was the same thing here as well. The bot definitely seemed to have the ammo distribution more in Vapor's favor, but that just kind of is the name of the game, what we see here with this new bot. A thing that's interesting that Caesar touched on was the fact that dissecting this one with the luck skill formula, KT, we had 2 main points coming into this one. We talked about Tagoe with his ability of the utilization against gold back in the suspension 64 with the +2s. It was an 8-1 in favor of Vapor with the +2s here today. Completely different from what we had on our notes coming into this one. And then you also talked about Vapor as we got later on into this game. He is one of those people that has been in longer matchups, and so would that be a difference maker for Tagoe, who usually is able to get his tournaments or his series done pretty quickly? We never got to that point. We never even got into a game 5. So, I go back to March Madness. We ended up having so many upsets, so much unpredictability. Here in the suspension 64, we had 2 rookies that moved on, but for the most part, if you looked on paper at the matchups coming into that first round of the series, most of the people that you predicted were going to move on did move on. Now as we start to get here into the Tire 32, do we start to get into that unpredictability here in Automotive April? It kind of seems like this being the first game of this round of 32, we are maybe setting a tone for that, for the unpredictability level to start to kick in, the bot playing more and more of a factor into who's moving on and who's getting eliminated.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this, right? We talked about the bot. We can't do much on 5. That's the great thing with Uno. 5 to 8 cars, you can't do much. And Vapor said, you know what? We've seen this a time or two. Let's go 5 and 6. Let's go 5 and 6. Let's test a little bit of that luck, roll the dice, and sometimes you come up big. And for Tagoe, I think it'll be about bouncing back. We know he's really good in T3. We'll see what he can do there. For Vapor, opportunity central. This is a massive opportunity. You got a big fish coming, especially if it's Nick. And even if it's not, even if it's Peter, big fish either way in terms of the aura of resume or the aura of the league, right? It's a league history. He knows what's in store. He's been here before. Let's go into that schedule real quick. And as I said today, well, actually, we'll go to the pod first. We don't have it updated, but the winner of this game, which was Vapor, will get Nick and Peter. Nick and Peter will play at 3:30 on Thursday. 2 days from now, 48 hours from now, a little bit less than that. Should be a good one. Winner, of course, could potentially get home. If Peter wins, it's Vapor. If Nick wins, he'll control it as the man to beat in the Mustang region. We'll go into the schedule, and boy, oh boy, if you thought this one was going to be a doozy, well, these next 2 games, obviously the Monkey Toasty game's a rematch from good old Mass May, where Monkey was cooked on the Bobby from Toaster Guy, crikey. But the other game, Mustang Region, Go Smith, that is going to be electric. I don't expect anything more than 20 minutes in that series. It's on stream, but it's going to be an absolute crack show. Ghost plays quick. Mitt doesn't like anything longer than 20. We're moving fast in Automotive April. We really are in the fast lane, the right or the left, depending what country you are and wherever you are around the world here in the league. Well, that's going to do it for this game. Want to thank Seth Cole and Jay Caesars. Of course, Caesar for reffing. Seth for coming out and commentating. What a game today, but tonight it was all about Vapor taking the care of business. Tagoe tried and fought valiantly, but it wasn't enough as Vapor moves on to Sports Mode 16. Tagoe will have to wait to the end of the month to get back on the table, of course, in T3. For all of us here at MREO, thank you for coming out. We will see you back here tonight on stream with Not Short and the crew dropping by with Myth and Ghost for a fast one. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you at 9 o'clock. We'll see you back here tomorrow with me a little bit later. Have a good one. All right, outro's rolling. All right, well, you guys can tell outro's rolling really good. But yeah, that was a banger game.